Join us now for Let's Just Talk with Kathryn Raaker.
Hi, this is Kathryn Raaker of Let's Just Talk. We are on location in Fort Worth, Texas with a really good friend of mine, retired General William Guy, and we're in his hangar that he has. Is this a World War II plane?
It's pre-World War II.
Pre-World War II. And what's that over there?
That's a Bonanza, which belongs to a renter.
A renter.
Yes.
Because you rent out space
I do.
in
I rent
your
out space.
in your hangar,
yes.
right? Well, welcome to our show. We're so excited about having you. This is the first time I've had the chance in all these years to interview you.
Well, thank you. It's a real privilege to be interviewed by you.
Oh, thank you so much. You know, Bill, I think that the one thing that I like about you is you're so colorful. That's the first thing.
Oh.
Right. Colorful is the word. You were
I'll take it as a compliment.
Take it as a compliment. You were in the military for how many years?
32 years.
In the Air Force, right?
That's correct.
And you were a pilot?
I was.
And then after those 32 years of service, and during that time, how old were you when you joined the military?
I was 22.
When did you get married?
22.
You got married in 22. So your wife traveled with you all over. Where were you in the military? Everywhere?
Well, I went to pilot training down in Del Rio, Texas at Laughlin Air Force Base.
Right.
And from there, after 1 year in pilot training, we were assigned to Pope Air Force Base, which is joins Fort Bragg in North Carolina.
Wow.
And flew C-130s out of there on active duty for 5 years.
Right.
And then after 5 years of active duty, I had an offer from Delta Airlines to come to work for Delta Airlines. So I accepted that offer and separated from active duty and came to Texas to fly for Delta Airlines.
So
And,
Dallas would be it, right?
the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I was flying out of Dallas-Fort Worth a Love Field initially because Dallas-Fort Worth was not even opened at that time until 1972.
Right.
But a year, just a few months after I separated from active duty and went to work for Delta, then I joined the Texas Air National Guard, where I spent the remaining 27 years of my military service.
So you actually were in the military for a while, then you went to reserves and served there for 27 years.
I did.
And then, so you kept flying your own planes, right?
Well, yes, and I started with Delta just a short time after I separated.
Right.
And so 27 years of my flying with Delta and military overlapped.
Wow.
So
when did you retire from Delta?
2002.
Wow. So then what have you been doing all that time?
Well,
You refocused, didn't you?
oh, sure. After I retired from Delta, I began flying for a private owner of a 737.
Okay.
And we flew all over the world.
Wow. For how long?
For about 3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
And then what happened?
And I retired.
Again?
Again. And now I play with house renovations and do whatever I want to do.
You do
Fish and
whatever you
hunt.
want
I've
to
got
do.
a ranch down south. So
Right. You really stay very busy, don't you?
I do.
And you and I you have been with the Air Power Foundation for how long?
Oh, about just a little before you were.
Really?
5 or 6 years, yeah. I
Really?
think probably a year before you were involved with them.
Right.
Yeah.
And I talk about them all the time, you know that.
You do.
Everywhere,
Yes,
everywhere.
You're a good
we try
promoter.
to. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I love it because after being first a military wife, then my second husband was in the military, but then became a contractor. So we traveled all over with the military for 41 years, right? So he retired and 3 weeks later started another job with another company that supports, you know, all the different companies that do work with military.
It's hard to retire when you're a Type A and you have to be doing something.
Yeah,
And
you got.
so,
What would I do with him at home? I mean, I've got my business at home. It would be too much.
yeah.
You know, we do a lot together, and he's my editor and my camera guy on the road, and it's just wonderful.
It's a great combination.
Great combination.
Good team.
And let's talk about this beautiful hangar, because you've got so much in here, Bill, that it's unbelievable. This is a historical type of a hangar, isn't it?
It's has quite a few memories in it.
Right.
Stored in it.
And I'm going to have
displays.
our camera guy walk around and just get a view of it, right? And I think it's so exciting to see even the clothing that you've assembled in your lifetime. Where did you get all of it?
Most of it's donations.
Really?
A lot of it's mine, but most of it is just donations. And my airplane partner was quite a collector also of memorabilia.
Right.
And a year and a half ago, before we sold our airplane, there was a lot more in here. So it's kind of scaled down now.
You scaled it down?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I was getting a little bit older and didn't have the time to fool
around with it?
With collecting and everything, and it was some of it I wanted to make sure it got into hands where it would be better preserved than the environment that I have here.
Let me ask this question. Where is it going to go eventually?
Well, my kids have no interest in it,
I
so
figured as much.
I'll probably donate it to one of the local museums. I'm very involved with the Fort Worth Aviation Museum
Okay.
and some other museums.
Right. So are you on a lot of boards and stuff, or a lot of foundations?
A couple, three others, yeah.
Okay. You want to tell them who they are?
Well, Fort Worth Aviation Museum, the Fort Worth Civic Leaders Association, and I also work with a group that's run by Bob Schultz, which is a science and history effort where we try to provide educational displays and stuff for
What's
people.
the most exciting thing that you've ever done in your career in flying?
Well, not counting when holes are being shot in my airplane.
Yeah, that's
you know,
important.
I guess really just the travel that I've been able to do.
Have you hit every country?
No, haven't been to Australia or New Zealand.
I haven't either. I can't even believe it. And
It's
you know
on my
what?
bucket
My
list.
husband used to represent Australia and New Zealand. And do you think I've been there? No.
Well, maybe you and I should go
That
together.
we should
I can't
do.
get my wife
That's
to
what we should
travel.
do. She won't go there?
No, she's not interested in going there.
Well, you met a wonderful friend of mine, Kim Ellis, who was from Australia. She's actually moving back to the States, and she's in Australia right now, and she's become a lawyer, and I think she's going to buy property, I'm not sure, in South Carolina. So she's very excited about that. So anyhow, how long did it take you to collect all the different things that you've collected?
Well, built the hangar in 1999.
1999, you
Yes.
built the hangar.
Yes.
And
well, this is
2017.
So we've been, you know, as stuff comes up, then
Right.
brought in here.
What do you think probably in all of the things that you collected that you're so proud of?
Well, I've got a real nice model of a C-130 over there that came out of the Lockheed plant, and I've got 20,000 hours in C-130s, or 20 years of flying in C-130s.
You like 130s, right?
It's a great airplane.
Great
Still
airplane.
is, and the new
Right.
models are even better.
Right.
Yeah,
So what
no
we're going to
doubt
do
there.
is we're going to have our camera guy show it. How about that?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's got.
And we're going to show all of the things that are in the museum, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Okay? So we're going to take a little tiny break, and we're going to walk over there.
Hello, I'm Gary Sinise. I invite you to join me and the American Airlines SkyBall in support of the Air Power Foundation this Veterans Day, November 11th, 2017. There is simply no event in the country that matches the scope and impact of SkyBall, which is held at the incredible American Airlines hangar at the Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. We simply cannot forget, and we must do all we can to support our nation's service members, veterans, first responders, and their families. I'm proud to tell you that SkyBall helps organizations such as Snowball Express, supporting the children of those killed serving on active duty since 9/11. I'm also proud that my own foundation, the Gary Sinise Foundation, is a benefactor from the proceeds raised at SkyBall, helping us provide support to our nation's defenders and their families. It has been said that patriotism is not what you say, think, or feel. It is about what you do. Please visit www.skyballinfo.com to learn about sponsorship opportunities. I look forward to seeing you all at SkyBall this Veterans Day.
It's hard to believe how much we've seen, experienced, learned, and even accomplished on behalf of our nation's heroes over the years.
That day, a cold chill ran down my spine. I just had to do something.
And I was taught that when you become of age and you got drafted, you had to go. It was your duty.
When I heard President Kennedy say, that's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country, that was motivating to me. That's why I tried to join the service, because I was doing something for my country.
Dad told me, he's like, look, there will come a day you'll have to go serve, and you'll experience and see things that you'll never forget.
Please join the Air Power Foundation for an incredible gala on November 9th, 2017 at the Westin DFW Airport Hotel as we salute and honor the nation's recipients of the highest award for valor in combat, the Congressional Medal of Honor. Since 1863, when the Medal of Honor was first awarded, fewer than 3,500 people have been awarded the medal. Today, there are just 75 living recipients of this prestigious award. Please join us for a very special dinner in partnership with the Medal of Honor Society and Foundation as we salute the sacrifice and service of these heroes, who will present their Bob Hope Award for excellence in service through entertainment to our veterans and military. Proceeds from this event will benefit the Medal of Honor Foundation's Character Development Program, which teaches young people the meaning of citizenship through the values embodied by the medal. Courage, sacrifice, patriotism, citizenship, integrity, and commitment. For more information on how you can sponsor a table and join us in honoring our nation's heroes, please visit www.skyballinfo.com/MOH. Join us as we honor these national treasures, the recipients of the Medal of Honor.
We're back on Let's Just Talk with retired General William Guy. And we're here with this before World War II plane?
1940. That's when this aircraft was built.
Really?
Just prior to our
Have you
entry
flown
into the
this,
war.
or is your
I
partner
have.
flown it? Is it exciting?
It belongs to my
Partner.
former partner when we owned an airplane together.
Right.
And his brother.
Right.
And yes, I have been allowed to participate and ride in the back seat.
Yes.
It's a two-seater.
Two-seater.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I was in your other airplane, which
Yes.
was really fun getting up into.
That was a L-17.
An L-17.
A Navion known
Right.
in the commercial area.
Actually, you know, I've flown planes before. Is this plane hard to fly?
No, it's a very stable airplane.
Right.
And,
I want to come back and fly with somebody in this airplane.
Well, I'm sure Mark, the owner, and his brother would be
love that.
be glad to have you.
Well, you know, it's funny because just recently I did something in the aircraft industry, and I also love race cars. So we went 170 miles on.
You did?
Yes, I
You
did.
went around the track.
Yeah, going around the track. But you know, I love flying. I think it's really exciting to be in a plane. Really, there's a thrill to it.
Well,
And let's talk about the history of this plane now.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, if you're in aviation, you know, it's nothing, it never gets old. It's always, because no two flights are ever the same. you
That's
know.
right.
Let me tell you a little bit about this airplane.
And walk around.
Okay.
Okay.
This airplane is credited with being the oldest Curtiss-built airplane in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It was built in 1940.
Right.
And there were about 234 of these aircraft built. Now this was the prototype for a T-6, which was a highly used trainer in World War II. in early World War II, and they built a lot of those, several thousand.
Did women bring these planes to the, there's a...
Oh, the WASP group?
Yeah, the WASP group.
I'm sure they ferried some of them because
Right.
a lot of them went to Canada and a lot of them went to France.
Wow.
This particular airplane went to
Right.
France.
It did.
And shortly after it arrived in France, it was captured by the Germans, along with 93 of them that were in crates, still in the crates, and had not even been assembled over in France.
Wow, wow.
So after the war, this one made its way back to the United States. It was
Right.
repatriated,
Right.
and it was used by the French and the Germans for a pilot trainer.
Really?
Yes. And so after it made its way back to the States, it was purchased and owned by a gentleman out in Del Rio, Texas, and it stayed in his hangar for 30 years.
Did he fly it?
Oh, yes, he did, or in his early days. But
Right. As he got older, he
my
didn't.
partner, Mark Cyrier, and his brother, John, found out about the airplane, and they went down to see if they could purchase it. And he said, I'm not ready to let it go yet, but when I do, I'd like for you boys to have the airplane.
So?
So he died about a year later. He was 93, I think, when he passed away.
Right.
And a few months after he passed away, the daughter called and said, come get the airplane. We're ready to let go of it. And so they went down, took a truck, disassembled it, brought it up here. And it was in a bad state of repair at that time. It was not polished like this. It had a lot of tarnish on it. And luckily, it was in a good environment down there, so there wasn't any corrosion, significant corrosion on it. And so for the last year, they've been working on it, restoring it. And the first thing they did, the first 2 months, all they did was polish it.
I can imagine.
Buffed it up. And
How
everything.
long does it take to polish a panel?
Well, it depends on how many people. He had three guys working on it, two
Wow.
others with it, and
Wow.
it was a
big job.
It was a big job, and it took a long time to get it in the condition it's in now.
Okay,
But
so tell me what kind of an engine it is.
this has a Wright engine in it, and
Okay.
it's a 9-cylinder reciprocating engine, and it's 450 horsepower. And the
Wow.
difference between this airplane and the T2 that they built a lot of and used them in training is this has a 450 horse engine as opposed to a 600 or 650 horsepower engine. And it also has a gear that is fixed. It will
And I'm
not,
going to move over so you can see the gear.
okay, the gear will not retract into the wing like it does on the T6 after you
Okay.
take off. So this gear stays down all the time. in flight.
Really?
Yeah. And as a result, it creates more drag, and so it's not as fast as the T6 was, which was probably 170, 180 mile an hour airplane. This one's a 130 mile an hour airplane.
And what is it?
130 to
Is this
140.
aluminum or what is it made of?
Yeah, it's aluminum.
Right.
But you can see the rivets are pretty flush on this airplane, which was new at that time. There were a lot of airplanes and they had a lot of drag because the rivets stuck up. This one has some rivets that are still raised, but some of them have also been ground off, and the rivets are smooth riveted on top.
How
But,
fast does the airplane go?
About 130 miles an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not fast, and
Not fast?
it takes a lot of. There are no hydraulic controls on it, so you have a good feel for the airplane. But it's a rudder airplane. You have to use a lot of rudder to control the
Okay,
airplane.
okay.
It's a tail dragger, which is also makes it more difficult to control on the ground once you get on the ground.
Once you get on the
So
ground.
you have to use the rudder and the controls. It's two place, pilot in the front, and the back of it was used for several different uses. They'd put a machine gunner back there. They'd put a camera guy back there, whatever they needed at the time to use on the mission or whatever they were training for. But most of these, since they were pilot trainers, they put another pilot back there, and he trained until he could move up to the front seat and fly it from there.
So
till was
he had
proficient.
gear. He had gear back there that he
Yes,
could use to do
he's got
it.
a stick back there.
He's got a stick back
and
there.
And radios and everything else. He has most everything that the pilot in the front cockpit has.
Right. So now, is there anything else that's very unusual about this airplane that you can think of?
They're have become rare now. There are only about 9 of these flying right now, I think.
Wow.
And so this year, 2018, this airplane will probably be at Oshkosh, where thousands of
people will see
airplanes. They normally have over 12,000 airplanes and 1 million people there. So it will be there.
Are they going to fly it? Well, are they going to, demonstrate the flying ability of it at the air? Is it an air show?
Yes, it's you can if you want to, and they have large groups of T6s there.
Oh, wow.
That fly. Sometimes I think they'll have 30 or 40 T6s flying together.
Oh, wow.
But this is a different airplane, and it cannot keep up with the T6.
I can imagine.
So they'll find a place for it, and it'll probably be flown as a single airplane.
Couldn't jump out of this, could you? Easily?
Well,
no.
the problem, the canopy will slide back.
Right.
So if you need to get out of the airplane, and there are parachutes in the seats right now, but you have to go over the wing, and
that's a little difficult.
Well, yeah, you have to be real careful because you don't want to go over and get your parachute caught in the tail or the rudder back there.
Right.
So it's not easily. You probably have to roll it over and go out so when the airplane's up on the side, so you can jump straight down, and even that would be
a little bit dangerous
yeah.
to do. So how long were these airplanes in service?
This one, I started to tell you it was in France, but it was when it left France, it came back to the U.S. with all the French markings on it. If you look at all the panel markings on here, and here, they're all still in French. The underside of the wing still has the French emblem on it.
Oh, wow.
And the tail still has the original paint job with the French markings on the tail.
Wow.
So it's really unique.
We're going to walk over there.
Okay.
Let's walk over there.
Okay, let's go this way.
This way?
If it's okay. Yeah.
Okay. Just a
I think it'll
minute.
be easier for us to get over here with the cameraman.
Okay.
And
Got it.
okay, right here. Because I want to show you this side panel right here.
Oh, you can get. Oh, this is the way you get into
That's a
it.
step to get in. Yes.
Step to get in.
This is a little storage compartment,
Uh-huh.
and when you open it up, it's all in French. All the
Oh, yeah.
even the metric
Right.
weights and everything on here
wow.
are in kilos, and you can see this is. I don't know what it says, what the French interpretation is, but it indicates that it's a storage compartment. And right here, and this is an exit point here. But to get into it, you walk up on the wing, and he uses that step to get in the front, and this step to get in the back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get that.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't know whether I can get that open or not. We won't
worry.
fool with that. Anyway.
Talk to us about the wing back here and the rudder, if you don't mind.
Okay. Here's more French writing on here, and you can get the camera around a little bit. You can get a picture of the French flag, the French colors on the tail back there.
That's pretty exciting.
My partner has a unique method of moving the airplane around. That's remotely controlled. It's on tracks, and so he can move it in and out without ever touching the airplane.
That's pretty exciting.
It's all power operated. Yeah.
It's a robot.
It's a robot. That's
it's
correct.
a robot.
It's exactly what it is.
Wow.
And so he moves it in and out using that.
That's pretty exciting. Now, how old is your partner?
He is 51.
Oh, he's a young guy.
He is, yeah.
Wow. Wow. So let's walk around and see some of the other memorabilia, if you don't mind.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay, we're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna be right back on Kathryn Raaker's Let's Just Talk with retired General William Guy. We're back on Let's Just Talk with retired General William Guy, and we're talking about the
Yale
aircraft.
Predecessor prototype for the T6 aircraft.
And you were talking about the engine and why you have all this here. Tell us about that.
Well, this is just a relief system for the oil. Once the airplane has been flown, then we connect this oil drain line up so we can drain the oil out and take the pressure off the system in the airplane. And then we reuse this oil. We'll put it in these 5-gallon drums, and we'll be able to reuse that oil and refill it without having to buy another gallon of oil every time. Yeah, gallons of oil.
So it helps the engine actually keep it better.
Well, it doesn't it helps the system just to keep the pressure off of it, but it also, that way it's easier to start and everything when they get ready.
What are these black things right there, and does that say the battery?
Yes, it does say battery. This is the battery compartment, and these are pitot tubes. They take the compressed air and they feed information, air pressure, to your airspeed indicator and your altimeter and your vertical velocity, those 3 instruments in the airplane.
Okay.
So they're
And then,
very important.
Very important. Yeah. So let's talk about the C-130. Can we do that? So we're going to walk over there, go over there, and talk to me about the C-130. Thank you.
Right ahead.
Okay. This is the C-130, correct?
This
Lockheed
is a
Martin model of it. This is the one you were talking about.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right.
And right here on the front it says Lockheed Martin C-130 Hercules.
And what kind of engines were on these?
These had Allison's, that's right, T-56 engines, and they generated about 4,000 horsepower each, I think, total, on the ones that I flew. I flew 3 different versions of this airplane. I flew E models initially, and then I flew B models, and then when we wore the B models out, we went to the factory in Atlanta, Georgia, to Marietta over there, and picked up new H2 models. And now the H2 models that I was flying, we picked those up in 1985, and the last one from my old unit was just sent to the boneyard.
The boneyard?
Yes, 2 of them went to the boneyard of the 6 that we still had out there, and 2 of them were sent to Alaska. No, 2 of them were sent to Little Rock, Arkansas, to the training squadron there, and 2 of them were sent to another unit, I think.
What does the boneyard do with them?
Normally, if they're not going to have parts, they grind them up and shred them. And they tear them up, yeah. A few of them are allocated to public displays on bases and parks and things like that.
Right.
But the majority of them are they're ground up into little pieces. Yeah.
How big is this airplane actually?
Well, it would carry a payload of about 42,000 pounds, and it weighed, max gross weight, I'm trying to recall what it was now, 40 plus, about 100,000 pounds, I think, total. We could carry 92 paratroopers, or we could carry 42,000 pounds of cargo, which we could drop off the ramp and door out the back of the airplane.
You love this airplane, don't you?
Well,
kind of.
I've got a lot of flying time in them. I spent a lot of time in my life in those things, probably 20,000
Did you ever have one of the propellers go out or the engines go out?
No, I've never.
Never?
Not a
They're
propeller.
that dependable?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
They're
Right behind me, or now you have a collection over there that I want him to look at, because it's all these little airplanes, right? That's a collection, right?
Yeah.
Of all the different airplanes. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, this is a collection that was given to me by the B-36 Aviation Museum when they were moving to a new location and they had no place to put them. So
Wow.
they gave me 105 airplanes, and I lost a few of them because the Bonanza guy that rents space from me had a little problem with his airplane, and the engine was running, and he blew some of them around and broke them up a little bit, did some damage.
Up. Right.
But
is there one that you're more taken with than others?
well, you know, the technology has changed so much. They're just airplanes from each different era that you just really appreciate. You know, like the P-51, it was a famous fighter, and it was really a workhorse in World War II. And now the stealth airplanes like the F-117 and the F-22 And these airplanes, they're completely different airplanes. So
Have you been in a stealth before?
have a what?
Have you flown in a stealth?
No, I've flown in F-16s and
F-18s?
No, F-15s.
F-15s.
And,
Would you like to go in a stealth?
Oh, sure, I'd love to. You know,
Okay, well
I
maybe
still
that's the
haven't
next show, right?
I'd-
A stealth, right?
But they're retiring the F-17s now, and they're coming out with the
right.
new stealth
New ones.
aircraft. So.
What's this plane back here? The silver one.
That was an old amphibian airplane, and that was probably built by. I'd be guessing. I can't remember what the exact airplane is, but it was an amphibian airplane.
Now, who are all these people up here on these photographs?
Well, my partner was quite a collector, and these came out of his collection, and most of these are World War II pictures of significant people and people famous in aviation, like Joe Foss and some of the general officers. Enola Gay, of course, dropped the atomic bomb over
And who is
Hiroshima.
this right here?
I'd have to look at it. It has his name on it.
Oh, I can't
It's
see
been
it
so
without my
long since
glasses.
I've looked at these names. And can you read his name from the tag right there in the bottom left-hand corner?
No, I can't. Well, I have to be able to get back there, and this table is in the way.
No, I can't move it.
We'll not worry
But
about
that's
it.
okay.
We're not going to worry about it.
Yeah.
So this piece right here, you're really proud of, aren't you?
Well, I was involved with this is called the Flight Crew Memorial, 9/11 Flight Crew Memorial. And this was a memorial to the 33 commercial airline crew members that were killed on 9/11 in the 4 aircraft that went down, the 2 American and the 2 United.
Can I move it or not?
You can, it's heavy, you probably
No, I can't even
touch
move it.
No.
But I'll have the photographer get a picture from you so that we can have it on this program, because I
Sure.
can't see all the way
and I've
around
got some
it.
brochures on it over by the door. You can pick one up with a color
Right.
picture of that.
Right.
But the memorial was built here in my hangar. It was, the artist worked here with the wax rendition of it, and it was 14 feet high.
Right,
And
but
now
where is it now? It's in a special location.
It's in Grapevine, Texas.
Grapevine, Texas.
Just north of DFW Airport.
Right.
And the city donated some land, and we have some supporters in that area that helped erect it over there, and the developer over there donated some property for it also.
Right.
And so it's 18 feet high, the donation, the memorial is now. And it's also been, now it's accompanied by a memorial to the first responders who died in 9/11 also over there.
That's
Firemen and
Policemen.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And now
so-
we need to go over to where the uniforms and all this other is, if you
Oh,
don't mind.
okay.
Go right ahead.
All right. Well, this is just a group of uniforms I've assembled over the years. Some of them are mine. A lot of them are donated. And I've begun to donate some of them to other museums. I still have 5 foreign country uniforms up there. I have Albanian, I have Russia, China, East Berlin, and British
Wow.
up there.
Wow.
And the rest of them are U.S. uniforms of different services. And so they've been donated to me.
Wow.
The big propeller you see
Yes.
hanging on
What
the
is that?
wall, that's a test prop. They would put that on a big engine to load it up so they wouldn't overspeed the engine while it was running without a load on it.
Wow.
So,
That's pretty exciting, right?
yeah, that's pretty unique. You
And
don't
so
see
what
it.
are some of the, do you have other flags up there too, besides the American flag? What's the flag in the center?
That's a Texas flag, but it's faded.
It's faded, poor baby.
It's, you can, well, this hangar's been here since 1999, and those
Right.
have been hanging here
Right.
since then when I built a hangar.
So what's the most exciting thing you think you've done while you were in aviation?
Well, I really enjoyed a 10-day trip to China.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
Did you
really
see the
did.
Great Wall?
Oh, yes, I've walked the Great Wall.
You've
Yeah.
walked the Great Wall.
Yeah, sure.
Was
yeah.
that pretty exciting?
Yeah, it
But you
was.
know, Donald
We
Trump
even
got to go.
We carved our initials in it.
Did you? Don't tell
Probably-
me that.
Yeah.
But tell me one thing. He got to eat. President Trump got to go to the Forbidden City and have dinner, right?
He did.
That's a really special honor, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sure it is. I went to the Forbidden City, but it's right there in Beijing, across from Tiananmen Square, where the big problems occurred. And but we were able to walk pretty freely around it. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been several years since I was there. I don't remember what access was limited, but I'm sure they had a special place for us.
Well, you know, in my new book, she's at Tiananmen Square when it happens.
Oh,
you got to read this. This
I'll
is
have to do
exciting.
that. Yeah.
So one of the things, you know, I'm very, very excited about Elizabeth Bromwell, Chronicles of an Expat Spy. So the nice thing about it is that she was undercover, and nobody knew, not even her husband.
Well,
or her son.
Sounds like a continuation of
It
their first
is.
episode.
Yes,
I read the book.
You
Very
read
well
the book.
done.
Well, you know
Yes.
that the second 2 pages took you to New York and what happens to her in 1999 on the 107th floor, and you're not sure if she's going to get out or not, right? She does, just let you know. So, do you have a website where you can see all this or
Nope.
not? You
No,
don't
do
have a
not.
website.
No.
So we're going to have to supply pictures to our audience, right? So
We
that they
can
can
do
see
that,
that. We
yeah.
can
I
do that.
could
But I
provide
really
some
do want to
pictures.
fly in this plane next time.
Well,
right?
we'll
Okay.
get Mark out
We'll
here.
get Mark
He's
out
already
here.
offered to take you up.
Oh, good.
And he
He did?
apologized for not being able to
Oh,
be here
okay.
today with us.
So you took his place today,
I did,
right?
yeah.
And we want to thank you for your service because this is Veterans Weekend, and we're here for SkyBall. And we raised last year $2.6 million.
$2.6 million
What
for
do you
the,
think
for
we're
the
gonna-
vets.
What do you think we're going to raise this year?
We're shooting for 3.
3. I'll tell you
Shooting
what.
for 3.
What is exciting about this weekend is that usually they just pick 2 services, right?
1 or 2, yes.
1 or
they
2.
have done, yes.
But this year it's what?
They're promoting and recognizing all of the services plus first responders.
First responders.
Yes.
Which is pretty exciting. Do you know if there's anybody like Vice President Pence or somebody like that coming?
They haven't exposed all their secret
They haven't told us
VIPs
yet,
to me.
right?
No, not to me.
Right. They haven't told us who's going to be
That's
there.
above my pay grade.
Is that
you know.
above your pay grade? Well, we come every single year, and I am thrilled every year. This year we're on Saturday night we're doing the Beach Boys, right?
That's right.
I haven't heard the Beach Boys in a long time. So anyhow, but it's really important. The Air Power Foundation is what, General Bill?
Well, it supports the military community, not only the veterans themselves, but also they support the Snowball Express,
Yeah.
which takes care of the kids who have lost a parent in combat.
Right.
It supports the Naval Air Station close by here to the tune of $250,000 a year. They've done so many awesome things. Last year at the SkyBall, we gave away 3 cars that had been
I saw
restored
that.
by a local repair shop. And there's just one thing, we have done a lot to enhance the living facilities of handicapped veterans that need special equipment and special walkways and spaces in their homes. So it just goes on and on. And if you go to skyball.org, it'll bring up the American Airlines SkyBall, and it'll show a lot of the events that are available on that site.
Skyball.com.
Skyball.com, okay.
Right,
yeah.
not org,
okay.
.com.
.com.
I use
okay.
it all the time,
Oh,
so
you
I
do?
know.
Okay.
Yeah, so
More
I
than
know.
Yeah,
But
okay.
anyhow, and you know the most exciting thing is that there's events all during the year.
Right.
We're the oldest foundation in the country.
Since 1958,
Ninth-
it's the oldest military support organization in the nation.
I know, and that's pretty
Founded
exciting.
by
Founded by.
Frank Kent, a local businessman, and General LeMay, Curtis LeMay.
Curtis
Who
LeMay.
was commander of Strategic Air Command.
I remember
back
that.
then. Yeah.
I remember that. And I think we've run out of time. And we want to thank you for your service. Let me thank you for your service.
Thank you for being
And
here.
I became an auxiliary member of the American Legion this past year.
Great supporters.
And I'm really excited about it. And I actually got to talk to the new woman commander of the American Legion. And she couldn't be here because she's going to be in New York.
Oh,
So anyhow.
I'm sure she'd rather be in Texas.
Yeah,
with
I think
us.
she'd rather be in Texas. Sure. Well, we want to say goodbye. And you know, you can watch our programming now, not all over the nation, up on our website at Let's Just Talk, but we also are on wonderful digital devices. And if you go to tv2go.net, either for iPhone or Android or any of your digital devices, you can watch us.
Super.
Isn't that super?
It is.
We're in 37 countries, and we're very, very excited about how our growth is becoming. So we want to thank you again, and we'll see you next time on Let's Just Talk.